Doomsday 3.
We had Doomsday 1.
No question in my mind.
We came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, most of this country, of course.
Praying for safety and
on the defense, talking about it. You better get your ass the ball. You better get the ball.
I just gotta say, when it comes to former talent,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
This guy gets off you.
Smaller from and then I go to bed every night like G-Man, I promise you that Man, what is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag, Kelly K9 in the house, a special Monday show. I mean, this is too good. We couldn't wait till Wednesday, right, Cal? I mean, we had to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, you're not used to seeing. Usually on Mondays, I'm still, fighting off the hangover of the weekend. But I had to get myself right for today and get things going. And it's a special show, special guest. So I'm pretty hyped up about it. So ready to talk some Cowboys football, and we got a good one for you guys.
Yeah, we ain't gonna waste no time. Now, we've had, Ring of Honor, we've had Hall of Fame, we had 100 all-time team, we've had Super Bowl champions. It's nothing like getting some former Cowboys in here, and we've got a good one's got a great story, still very close to the Cowboys, so going to be able to give us a lot of insight. The only little problem that we'll work it through it, but yeah, he's North Carolina Tar Heel. I'm a Hurricane, and he was on the team that really started the demise of the Miami Hurricanes when North Carolina beat us with a game-winning field goal. We're undefeated. They were 3-4, probably one of the most embarrassing losses in Miami Hurricane history, and that set the downward spiral. But I'm going to overlook all that. And we are going to bring him in. Let's get everything set up properly so we can bring our guy Jesse Holley into the cave. What is going? Let's get him in there. What's going on,
there
man?
There we go.
What's up, man? You know what? When I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about that Miami game at home. What a wonderful game that was. Oh, man. ESPN game, night game. The old Hurricanes came into town, and them Tar Heels put a little belt to tail on them. You know what I'm saying? They got that. I'll tell you what's interesting about that game. I know, and I'm totally fine with it. I get a lot of talk because I got run down in San Francisco. Rightfully so, right? Rightfully so. But there was a play that happened in that Miami game. We were going in to score right before the half. Our quarterback, Darian Durant, should have threw the ball to me, wide open. He didn't. He threw it to his guy, Jaworski Pollock, and it got picked off. And I forget who was the one that picked it off, but he was
going it Antro Roll because he was around that time. I didn't know if it was.
It might have been Antro Roll, but it was a fast dude. And he was going in to score before the half. Old Jay Holley got on his giddy up, man, and all of a sudden you just seen that number 9 running down the field, and I tackled him about the 50-yard line to save a game-changing pick 6 before the half. We going to win that game. It's a beautiful night in Chapel Hill, knocking off the Hurricane.
Yeah, and it did start the demise. And I want to just real quick, so just to give you a proper intro, you're doing a lot of stuff with DLLS Sports, right? You're doing a lot of content with them and staying close to the Cowboys. Where could people follow all your stuff? And I know they're following you already, but where can they?
Man, I'm probably one of the hardest working men in show business. But of course, my guys over at DLLS Cowboys podcast. You can find me there 5 days a week at 11 a.m. Central Time. Clarence Hill, Jeff Kavanaugh, and Ali Jawad is on that show. I'm over at Hanging with the Boys on DallasCowboys.com. You can catch that show when the season starts 5 days a week at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Myself, Shannon Gross, Kurt Daniels, and 3-time Super Bowl champion Nate Newton. I have my own podcast called Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. You can catch that on YouTube. I also work for Believe in the Cowboys. Ro Parrish and I do a show on there twice a week. We'll be doing that during the Cowboy season. And I have another, and I don't know if I can announce this show yet, but there's another show that I'll be doing this year. Your boy is taking and dabbling a little bit into college football. So I'll be doing a show.
I was gonna say, I mean,
There we go.
I'm
you
doing college football this year. So as the young kids say, I'm outside. I'm outside.
There you go. I mean, I was just about to say, when you're naming all them podcasts, everybody, I hope y'all had your notepads out so you can follow all that. That's a lot. My God, when you said you're the hardest working man in show business, you weren't lying.
Yeah.
More podcasts in a week than I do in like 6 months.
I'm outside, man. I'm outside. These bills don't pay themselves. You feel me?
Hey, I love it, man. There's a couple of those that I did not know about that I'll have to go. I did watch a couple of your episodes, and you're unfiltered, and you do a great job on that. And I know you do a great job with all the Cowboys stuff, pre and post game coverage and stuff like that. So I've been a fan for a long time. You're also a character on Twitter, though. I mean, so if you guys ain't following him on Twitter, Jesse Holley, Mr. Fourth and Long, you got to follow him on Twitter too, because he also gives some good insight there, and cuts up and lets people know how it is too, which I appreciate.
Like you though, Cal. Nobody cuts up like you, brother. When you get on yours, you get on yours. You get on yours.
I've been trying to work with him. I'm like the little angel on his shoulder. Like I'm trying to, like I always tell him, when you go to tweet something, just send it to me real quick, and I'll let you know if you should probably not do that. My man's been in Twitter jail so many times. I say we can't do that anymore. We need you. What's going on?
Yeah, I try, man, but the filter's broke. The filter just ain't. I don't think I was born with one, so it just it comes out the way that I want it to, and it is what it is. But
once you get a couple of them brews in you, it's a wrap.
Oh man, yeah, it's definitely a wrap. And and I'm hoping that this year, I always do my reaction videos after the Cowboys games, and I'm hoping that this year I got more joy in my life than I do pain, because man, last year was one of the hardest years, man. I don't know if you caught it. I know Mike was laughing his ass off about it. I ended up throwing the brown paper bag over my head for a video, and did one of my videos with a brown paper bag, the Cowboys stars over my eyes. Like, that was tough to do, man. I hated to do it, but man, last season was just so sour and left such a bad taste in my mouth. I'm ready to kind of get on from that and move on from that. But man, you're with the Cowboys, you won the reality show, Michael Irvin's reality show, which led to your stint with the Dallas Cowboys. I know pretty much every Cowboys fan that has watched the Cowboys from back in the 2000s, 90s, and all that remembers the game in San Francisco. That's the play that that everybody kind of goes back to and remembers. And I remember being jumping off my couch, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a second. I was like, who's this guy? Because I remember Miles Austin. Miles Austin was the guy that kind of came out anywhere. And then all of a sudden you come out and you got that 77-yarder. You said you caught some flack for getting chased down and tackled to one. But I'm just going to say this. Listen, it's a 77-yard pass catch in the NFL. Not a lot of people can say that they've had that happen over, ever. So I'm just going to say, that was awesome. I love that. Set up the game winner in OT, San Francisco game. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself at the time, I'm like, man, Romo just out here just making, guys' careers with the way he can put that ball placement. But tell a little bit about that play and that game and what it was like just getting put in there and then being able to make, a huge play to win the game.
So what's very, very interesting about that game is, if you remember, that was week 2.
Yeah.
Week 1, we opened up that year 9-11 in New York against the Jets. We lose that game on a heartbreaking interception at the end of that game. Darrelle Revis intercepted at the end of the game.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I won't tell y'all whose fault that was, but you can put together whose fault that was. But anyway, the guy who took the blame actually wasn't the guy whose fault that was. But I digress. So that week in that particular game, Dez had hurt his quad, and all week it was kind of like, hey, Dez will be a game time decision. Dez will be a game time decision. And so we had been working 11 personnel with myself, Miles Austin, and Kevin Ogletree. So all week long, I'm in with the ones, and I'm excited. I'm like, yes, let's go, man. Finally, my time has come. I worked my tail off. I'm ready for this moment. And we get to the game, and, I done told all my people back home, like, man, make sure y'all watching the game today. I'm like, man, we get 11 personnel, you know what I'm saying? Jay Holley gonna be in there, So all my people back home are watching, and they're excited. I'm excited. And right before the game, we're standing in the training room, and Kevin Ogletree is sitting on the training table, and he's getting his ankles taped. And he and I just going over some things, because in 11 personnel, certain packages, he was going to one place, I was going to another place, but I wanted to make sure that we were on the same page about it. And at the time, Coach Robinson, who was our wide receiver coach, came in the training room. I'm 6'3" at that time, 215 pounds. I'm pretty hard to miss. And he comes in and he stands there and he's talking to Kevin and he's telling Kevin this stuff as if I'm not standing there. And he's like, hey, KO, listen, on 11 personnel, you're going to go here. On 01, you're going to go here. On 12, you're going to go here. And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, well, if he's going to those places, those are my places. I guess I must be going to his places. And he just walks off. And Kevin goes, what about Holly Grove? That's what they call me. What about Holly Grove? And he's like, oh yeah, just be ready. We're gonna go with Dwayne Harris. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Nothing against Dwayne Harris. Love Dwayne. I was like, that was a little bit as a little mentor. I was a mentor to him, his time with the Cowboys. But he didn't know where to line up initially. So he was always struggling where to line up, break the huddle, all that kind of stuff. Good player, but just didn't know initially where to line up at that time. Yeah. When I tell you I was hurt was not the word. I cried in the pregame warmups. It was an angry cry because I finally thought to myself, man, I did everything, you asked me to do. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I studied. I don't make mental errors. I don't make mistakes. Like I'm ready to do what I'm here to do. And I remember my good brother, John Kittner, coming up to me and he was just like, man, what's wrong with you? I'm like trying to explain to him, like, Kit, man, like, you don't get it, man. He's like, I don't get it. He goes, but I've been in this league 15 years. I get it. He goes, but do you have a uniform today? I'm like, yeah, but he's like, man, listen, you got a chance to impact this game today. How you do it is all on you. And I was like, all right, man, whatever, cool. And so we go up, we play the game, but I'm ready. I'm standing by the coach the whole time. First quarter goes by nothing. Second quarter goes by nothing. I'm playing my special teams. I'm on all core special teams and all that kind of good stuff. And the game is just, going. The game is going. And Dez didn't end up playing that game. And so Miles is having a great game. And then Tony gets hurt. Yeah, that was a punctured lung, wasn't it? This punctured lung game? Yeah. Broken rib. And nobody knew that at the time. Everyone thought it was just like kind of a rib. He didn't find out until the next day. So the game is going on, and we get kind of, to the fourth quarter. It's a good game. Remember that? I think that team either went to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl of that year, something like that. That team went. It was a pretty good Niners team. Yeah. The game gets into the fourth quarter, and sure enough, they break the huddle one time. Dwayne goes the wrong direction, and Jason Garrett loses it. And he's like, "Get him the bleep off the field." And so Coach looks at me, and I'm like, strap up, let's go. I go in, and as we're making this comeback, we come back to the huddle one time, and Miles leans into the huddle. I'm standing right next to Miles, and he leans in and he goes, "Hey, Jay Holley, man." I said, "What's up, bro?" He said, "I'm done." I said, literally, this is the conversation we're having in the huddle. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I'm finished." He goes, I can't run. And I say to him, "Bro, we don't got Dez. And you telling me we don't got you? Like, what the hell are we going to do?" He's like, "I don't know, but y'all going to have to figure it out because I can't run anymore. Like, my hamstring is shot." So I'm like, all right. So, like, he goes out. And then everybody remembers the 77-yarder, and I'm so thankful for that. But there were two catches that I made earlier. There was in the fourth quarter. There were two big third down catches. We don't get these. We're in the world of trouble. But I remember coming back to the huddle telling Romo, I'm like, "Yo, they're playing off and outside." He's like, "All right, bet." And sure enough, they did it again. He signaled me a slant. I ran a slant. One I had to like pick up off my shoelaces for a first down. And the other one I got another first down. Got us into field goal range. And we go into overtime, and they win the toss. They get the ball first. So we're kind of like, damn, our defense kind of really hasn't been – they've been up and down all day. But we get the stop. And so now all I can think in my head is we get the stop. They're kind of backed up. So I'm thinking that Coach Joe DeCamillis is going to call pump block. So now I'm like, this is what John Kittner was talking about. I'm going to have my moment. Because if we call pump block, I'm the blocker. Like, I'm the one that gets to go for the block. So I'm like, oh, he going to call it. He going to call it. And we get in the huddle for special teams for punt returning. Like, all right, y'all, punt safe. I'm like, damn. Not punt safe. Damn. I'm not going to get a chance to do this. So they call punt safe and we fair catch it. So we get in the huddle, and there's a if you go watch it on YouTube, there's a moment before we go out for the punt return that Tony's talking to me. Like you see him, like his hand on my shoulder, and he's like patting me on the shoulder, and you just see my head kind of shaking. Yeah. And people always ask me, what was he saying to you at that time? And I jokingly say he was giving me his Chipotle order, but I don't know what he said. I don't know what he said. Because I was trying to overtalk him. Because he's like trying to talk, and I'm like, I'm ready, Tone. And all I kept telling him was, I'm ready, Tone. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready, bro. Like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. That's all I kept saying to him. So we get in the huddle, and when we get in the huddle, I'm standing right next to Tony because I want to make sure that I hear this call clearly. Because there's no Miles, there's no Dez. It's me and Kevin Ogletree. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is not who they plan on having in this fourth quarter of this game. So I'm like, I'm going to hear everything loud and clear before I break this huddle. And Jason Garrett, I can hear in the speaker, he calls 585 Harveys. If you know anything about the Jason Garrett offense, the 585 Harvey was the same boring route that we ran so much that teams used to call out all the time. And so Tony takes a deep breath, and he's hurting. He is hurting in this huddle. And he goes, all right, man, F this. All right, here we go. And he calls this play called Z Poker. He calls a run play kill to Z Poker. Z Poker, which was so unique, this is a one-off play. This play was for Miles Austin and Miles Austin only. It was practiced by Miles Austin. It was only run by Miles Austin. The reads on this play was Miles Austin was the first, second, and third option on this play. If it wasn't available, you throw the ball out of bounds, we go to second down. Like that's how this play went. It's all or nothing play for Miles. And Kevin tries to pull the old Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, like, no, let me go play that. I said, no. But we break the huddle, and I'm like, oh, snap, I'm the Z. He calls Z Poker. Now, remember, Z in the Jason Garrett offense isn't like it is in today's offense. Jason Garrett ran a traditional, old-school X receiver is the dominant receiver, the Michael Irvins of the world type offense. That's what his offense was. That's what the number system was under Jason Garrett. So Kevin was already playing the X. He was playing the dominant receiver position. That's where Dez played at. That's where Roy Williams played at. Like that was the dominant. The number system, your numbers go from X over. So X gets the first number. Mm-hmm. And so I'm playing Z, where Miles played at. So I go and I'm like, oh snap! This is if this defense is the right call, they give us the right look. We're going with this play, and it's all or nothing. Okay, it's coming to me regardless. And you hear Tony go kill, 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 and I'm like, oh, ish. And Dante Whitner starts creeping down. We run a great play action with Tashard and the play there. And, I run out of gas. People are like, what happened? I mean, I gave you what I had. I gave you a strong 60, and I cruised. I was trying to man, I hope he stopped. But he wouldn't stop. He just kept – I could hear him breathing too, like, and I'm just saying, man, this is all downhill from here. Once I got to 60 yards, I'm like, this is all downhill. I'm trying to weave. If you notice, I go straight and I try to weave to the sideline, hoping that he gives up. And people are like, oh, you celebrated. No, I didn't celebrate. I was trying to hold it up so that I could fall forward with the ball and hope it got across the plane. But it didn't. And it was a great play. And while the play meant so much to me was, if you know my story, you mentioned it, Mike, about winning the show 4th and long. And I look at it as, when you talk about posture, the play is over. And this is, I am a believer in Jesus Christ. The play is over, right? Now here's the scenario. And this is my version of it. This is what I believe God did for me. The play is over. If I score, we're in overtime. They have the ball first. If I score, game's over, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone rushes the field. That's just what happens in those moments.
Yeah.
I get tackled at the 1-yard line. Now, put a pin in that. Let's rewind. My first year in the league was in 2007. I was a rookie with the Cincinnati Bengals. I spent 9 or 10 weeks on their practice squad. But I did everything that you can do wrong. I was chasing the girls. If you know anything about the Ohio area, there's CVG and then there's Dayton, Ohio. I literally I had the Biggie song was in my head. Her flight leaves at 8, her flight lands at 9. Like literally, I would drop one off at CVG, jump in the car, head to Dayton to pick up one from Dayton to head back to Georgetown, Kentucky, where I lived when I played. I did everything wrong. And I believe that God had a higher purpose for me, so he took football away from me. And he stripped me of everything that I knew. And I was a security guard. I was homeless. I was living on a futon at a friend's house. And I was working at a T-Mobile. And it was in the night shift. It was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. If anybody works the graveyard shift, you understand how quiet the earth is at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where I talk about posture. I got to a place where I was so just finished with everything. I was just so distraught and just life wasn't happening. I'm like, I'm in my prime. No one's calling me. I got 0 workouts with anybody. I got no more money. I'm a security guard with a whistle and a damn flashlight. I'm just like hating life right now. I got a clip-on tie. I'm hating life. And I remember in the middle of this courtyard in Durham, North Carolina, at the tobacco warehouse. It's like a little, I don't know what you even call it, but it was like a club and stuff like it was a bar or something. It was like right across the street from the Durham Bulls baseball park. And I'm securing these grounds. And I remember just being at my wit's end. And I remember, I'm telling you no lie, I remember getting on my hands and knees in the middle of this courtyard, in the middle of the night, because I had no more answers. I didn't know what to do. And I get on my knees and I raise my hands up just like this. And I yell to the Lord, I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you want from me? And it was in that moment that he responded to me and just said, you. And that's when I rededicated my life to Christ. And literally after that, a couple of weeks later is when I got the phone call, the initial phone call about 4th and long. Mm-hmm. Now, fast forward to September 19th, 18th, whatever it was, the play happens, the 1 yard line, go and watch the play. What posture am I in? I'm on the 1 yard line and I get up, I'm on both of my knees, hands are raised to the heaven. And in that moment, I'm screaming glory. If you listen to it, I'm screaming glory and I'm saying, I'm not worthy, glory, I'm not worthy. Thank you, Lord, I'm not worthy, glory. Like that's all I'm repeating over and over and over and over again. And for me, it was a moment of, how will you handle success this time? Will you make it about Jesse or would you make it about me? Mm-hmm. And in that moment, there was no thinking that I didn't have a pre-planned celebration. Hell, I didn't know Tony was going to change the play. I had no idea I was going to make that play. But God used this team versus that team on that day for me to do that thing. And it lives in Cowboy lore forever, right? Like, I jokingly say this now after I watched a documentary a couple of weeks ago. I was like, shoot, I ain't the only one that got run down to San Francisco. Alvin Harper did too. Yeah, I was like, but you know, they're like, well, that's a little bit different. I was in an NFC championship. I was like, well, it don't matter. He got run down to San Fran too. But it's one of those moments that live in Cowboy history forever. And you know, and that's why I believe that it wasn't meant for me to score a touchdown. It was meant for my story to have that glory attached to it. And that doesn't happen if I score a touchdown because they mob me and make it all about me. In that moment, when you watch the end of that clip, whether it's 15, 20, 30 seconds, whatever that clip is, all you see is the cameras pointing on me and all the world sees for those moments is me giving God the honor and the glory. And that's the part that I'm always thankful for because listen, man, like 4th and long could have been done by any team. It could have been the Browns, the Jacksonville Jaguars. It could have been the Seattle Seahawks, some team that doesn't have the visibility that the Dallas Cowboys had. Yeah. And it wasn't. It was that I was supposed to be in Dallas, and it was supposed to be the Lord giving his just due in front of the largest crowd of viewership in any sport. So yeah, that's what happened. I mean,
it's an amazing story.
Absolutely. And I would say the only thing I'll remember, and I remember that play vividly. I just remember standing up as you're running and I'm screaming, don't fumble, don't, because the guy kept getting closer and closer and closer, and then you held the ball up, and it did look like you were celebrating, like, as a fan, and I said, no, don't do it. You got Leon Lett all over again. I said, no, don't do it. And it was such a play, and I have a picture, and I got a few pictures from you, but I got a picture, and it's you just Whitner's like 5 yards behind you. It's a beautiful. I always tell that story, but he smoked Whitner on that play, and it was such a good memory. And I think your story is amazing. Now, I don't know if 4th and Long would have been as good if Michael Irvin, had someone else hosting it without Michael Irvin. But on that show, was he? I love reality shows. I'm a reality fan. Danny's my other guy. I want to get, former Cowboy, went on Survivor to just get that story of what it was really like in Survivor. But 4th and Long, was Irvin involved in it? Was it a real process, or was it kind of like a just kind of for TV? Was it legit?
Man. It was legit. Like, it was, and I have no reason to lie. We're past the limitations of whatever somebody trying to sue me. It was. I can tell you this, Mike. If I had to do it again, I would.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I had to do it again, I don't think I would. Like, I was desperate, and I was like, all right, this is the only way that I'm probably going to get a chance again, because it just felt that way. But so the initial, when I first got the call, they actually called the University of North Carolina first. And they were calling all universities. They were calling all the PR staffs, the football PR staffs, trying to find if they knew anybody. Kevin Best, who's what they got in contact with at Carolina, who's there at the time for like 25, 30 years, and gave him my information. And they called me and they said, it was very vague about what the show was. They couldn't give me information. They didn't say Michael Irvin or anything like that. They just said a football show. And I was like, at this point in time, anything beats third shift security and first shift T-Mobile. You know what I'm saying? And so I said, okay. And this is the time where there was no, you didn't email stuff, you faxed it. So they faxed a sheet,
contract or
application type situation.
Okay. Yeah.
I got back to them. Then they gave me a call back, and they asked me. And this is this when I tell you this entire story is God. It's God is. When I got the call, they asked me, when I say I was broke, I was broke. Like, I was so broke that I got pulled over and I didn't have car insurance. My car wasn't registered. I didn't have car insurance. And the lady was nice. The lady cop was nice enough. Shout out to the Durham Police Department. She was nice enough to let me drive the car back to the apartment complex where I was staying at. And she took my license plates. She says, when you get insurance and registration, all that kind of stuff, you come down to the station, we'll give you your plates back. Well, I had to be at work. This was like 11 o'clock at night. I had to be to work. I had to work third shift. So I stole plates off another. I stole a front license plate off another car and put it on the back of my car. Just to get to, and I was driving around like that for months with a stolen license plate because I didn't have money. I didn't have any money. And so I sent the application in, and they said that we were going to do auditions, and the auditions were going to be, there were LA, there were either 2 in LA or 2 in Dallas, but one of those cities had 2. So that's 3. And then Ohio and Orlando. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have any money to get anywhere. And I don't know why I picked Orlando, but I said, okay, I'll see you guys in Orlando. Having no clue how I'm going to get there. Can't drive, can't fly, can't do anything. A couple more days later, my godmother called me, just checking on me. And we had a conversation. We ended the conversation. And before we got off the phone, she said, I can't, it gives me chills even saying it now. Before we get off the phone, she says to me, Jesse, do you need to go anywhere? I said, no, why? She says, well, I booked the ticket. She's from Alabama, but she was living in Jersey. I'm from Jersey. So she says, I had booked the ticket to go home to see my dad, but her son, Dylan, got sick. And she goes, I didn't go, and the airlines told me that I have to either use this or I lose this ticket. She goes, I don't have anywhere to go. My dad came up to Jersey, so if you needed somewhere to go, I was going to just put it in your name and let you use whatever. And I was like, well, actually, I do. And she called and she was like, yeah, it cost me $100, but don't worry about it. Give it to me later. You have your ticket to Orlando. And now you had to be there 2 days in Orlando. You had to do an on-field kind of audition, like kind of type stuff, and in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, I got a ticket there. So in my head, I'm saying, I'm just going to sleep at the airport. I'm going to sleep at the airport, and that way I know I got somewhere warm and safe to sleep, and I'll just find my way there. Well, I started thinking like, man, who do I know in Orlando? And it hit me. It's going to sound crazy. My 5th grade teacher.
Wow.
My 5th grade teacher, her name is Ronnie Denoya. She dated my great uncle. And so that's how she was like, she knew my family. And as I got older, she moved to Orlando. And she had always been asking, like, hey, when I was in college, hey, if you ever want to come down to Orlando for spring break, just let me know. I got extra rooms here. I got a pool here. She's like, I'm a principal, so I get discount tickets to Universal Studios. But what 19, 20-year-old wants to go to your 5th grade teacher's house in Orlando for spring break? First of all, I couldn't because I was playing basketball at North Carolina. So spring breaks was occupied with winning national championships. And so I was like, let me give this a shot. I give Miss Denoya a call, and she's like, hey, yes, sure. Where do you need to go? I'm like, well, we have to meet at this hotel. This is the address. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, why? What's the problem? She goes, this is 5 minutes from my house. She goes, I drive by this street every single day when I leave my house. She goes, you can walk there in about 15 minutes, or I can drop you off on my way to work. So I went from not having anywhere to stay and nowhere to get to Orlando to having a plane ticket round trip and a place to stay that was 5 minutes from the location that I needed to go. Wow. And so I did that, and then I was one of the selected that go to California. And I told them, I said, I can't afford to go to California. I said, I got to Orlando by the grace of God. And they said, don't worry, the 50 that we're sending to LA, we're picking up the tab. So you'll fly there on us, hotel on us. So we went there, we did a combine, literally a combine there, and then we were sequestered in the room for like 7 days. And so it went from, when it's all said and done, there was over 100,000 applications sent in.
Wow. Damn.
They, in the 5 cities, they auditioned 22,000 people in those 5 cities. Out of that 22,000, they picked 50 that they sent to LA. I was a part of that 50. Out of that 50, they picked 12 to come to the Cotton Bowl. When we got to the Cotton Bowl, 12 of us, 6 wide receivers, 6 DBs, we lived in the Cotton Bowl. I don't know how more to say that. We lived inside the locker rooms of the Cotton Bowl. There was no cut and we go to a fancy hotel or a fancy some sort of Airbnb. No, they did makeshift rooms in the Cotton Bowl, the locker room, like the locker room. I don't know how else to say that, but that's where we lived. For 2 months, for 2.5 months. No cell phone, no TV, no radio, no iPads, no laptops, no connection with the outside world unless you wrote a letter. It was like jail. If they wrote you a letter back, they had to read it before they gave it to you. If you wrote a letter out to someone else, they had to read it before they sent it. Nothing was done without being recorded. The only time that you wasn't on camera or being recorded some way, somehow, unless you went to the bathroom. By law, you can't record in the shower or toilet.
Yeah.
That was the only place that we didn't get filmed or recorded. And so I did that. So the 12 went there. I did 2.5 months there. 1 came out of that, and I was the 80th man on the training camp roster. And when I tell you, there were multiple times during 4th and long when we were doing these drills where the producers had to come from the truck and stop Michael Irvin because he was trying to kill somebody. Literally. Like people are like, oh, we had a one show that we did conditioning. I think we conditioned for like 5 or 6 straight hours. Non-stop.
Jeez.
They had to come from the truck and was like, hey, Michael, because people were having full body cramps, like legit full body cramps. And we had a trainer there on staff, and it was Holly. And she's like, he has to be stopped. Someone can die from this. This is legit. And Mike was like,
they said he was the hardest working player on the field.
Bro,
so.
Mike was like, he had us running to the top of the cotton bowl in cleats. Then had us running 110s. It was crazy. It was insane that time that was there. But I mean, when you want something that you've never had, you're willing to do some things you've never done, and that's what it was.
I mean, that's an amazing story. And just last thing, when you go to the Cowboys, do you get treated different? Like, do players kind of look at you and say, "Man, this guy reality show. He took someone, guy deserves spot," or that you had to overcome that in the locker room?
Yep. It was. I would say it was mixed. My like one of my first interactions was with DeMarcus Ware, nicest dude in the world. Like I was sitting at a table by myself, and D Ware comes to me. He's like, "Hey man, you're a part of this team now, so you either better act like it or not." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "All right, cool." But the thing that I will say, and yes, there were some guys who treated me like, "Oh, I'm this reality TV show guy, whatever." But guys respect hard work. Mm-hmm. And that's what I brought every single day. I because I wasn't afraid of a fight. That wasn't gonna bother me. Like, you want to fight? That's fine with me. I didn't care. There was only a couple guys that I didn't want to fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't want to go toe to toe with Jay Ratliff. Didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do that at all. When I say at all, didn't want to go toe to toe with guys like Leonard Davis at all. But anybody else, a linebacker, safety, DB, let's go. Like, it's only going to last 30 seconds. Somebody's going to break it up. But what I'm not going to do is brother-in-law. What I'm not going to do is go half-hearted. Like, so everyone knew that when you went up against 16, you were getting 100 miles an hour every single time. And so I wanted that to be how people looked at me. Not that I was on a reality TV show, but a dude who worked his tail off every single day. And whether I got 1 or 2 reps with the offense, or if I was doing scout team, I was trying to I would not hurt you in a bad way. I was trying to dog you. Like, I was trying to kick your butt, and you just had to deal with that. So guys like Mike Jenkins and Terrence Newman, Orlando Scandrick hated me, and I hated him, and that was totally fine. Still like each other to this day. But what ended up happening was they respected it because it was consistent. Every single day they knew, oh, here come 1-6. You knew what you was going to get on special teams. Because my whole goal was, if I'm on the scout team and I'm going up against Mike Jenkins or Terrence Newman or Alan Ball or Orlando Scandrick or you name the player, if they're the starters and I'm going at them, that's telling the coaches what I can do against the league's other starters. Because you believe that these guys are the best that you have. Mm-hmm. Same thing on special teams. I'm like, if this is who they're putting out there on the first team special teams and I'm on the scout team, well, if I dog him every single day, either they're going to see that he ain't the one for the job and give me a shot or not. But I'm going to make it hard on him. And that's what it came down to being. And, I grew a lot of friends very quickly. A lot of coaches on the staff enjoyed me. Jason Garrett wanted me going after a week. I know that because 3 coaches on the staff told me that. He wanted me going after a week. Thank God Wade Phillips, who was the head coach at the time, was like, wait a second, this kid, he has nice size, has nice, skill with him. Let's and Wade kept giving me another week. This is the time where you were doing cuts weekly. It's not like now you do one big cut. You were cutting like almost like after 2 weeks of training camp, you were doing a cut down every single week. Yeah. And Wade just kept saying, hey, give him another week. And then Jody Camillus, the special team coach, was like, hey man, this guy's giving us great work over here on special teams. Like, hold on to this kid. And it was like one preseason game. Give him another preseason game. We'll give him another one. And then it ended with the Minnesota game. And in that Minnesota game, I returned a punt back for a touchdown, 82 yards. I didn't run down that time. No, 82 yards in Minnesota, and I wasn't the punt returner. And after that game, Jerry walks up to me and he says to me, I've been around football my whole life, and I've been around the Cowboys 20 plus years, and I've never seen a play like that before in my life. And I went from being a security guard to being a Dallas Cowboy in 7 months.
That's amazing. What a cool story. That's an amazing story.
You know what? I definitely respected the everything about that even more now, just because some of the things you said, like, that's divine intervention, the way that you got kind of how you went, and then just, and then the hard work and the dedication and stuff. I mean, that's amazing.
even one more nugget, and this goes into the Cowboys are doing a deep blue on Joe Avezzano, right?
Yes, I got to watch.
Yes.
I'll get out of this one. But Joe Avezzano was a coach on 4th and long. He was the offensive coach on 4th and long. When I won 4th and long, I remember Joe Avezzano saying to me, "You can't fail because if you fail, we fail." And so I win the show, but it's not announced. Like I know I won long before the final episode aired, right? But I was under the gag order. If I say anything or anything like that, they can sue me for $500,000. So I ended up flying into Oklahoma City, and they drove me from Oklahoma City or Oklahoma, I forget what it was, to Richardson, Texas. And I was stashed away in Richardson, Texas, at a house in Richardson, and I was training at a place called Velocity in Dallas. But they wouldn't give me a playbook because 4th and long happened while OTAs and minicamp was happening. And then it aired after that 10 weeks leading up to training camp. So I didn't sign a contract until I got to San Antonio. Jason Garrett refused to give me a playbook because technically I wasn't a Cowboy yet. Even though I had won the show and would be the 80th man in training camp, I hadn't signed, so he refused to give me a playbook. Thanks be to Joe Avezzano, we snuck into Valley Ranch. He snuck me into Valley Ranch. We went to this little coat closet of one of the camera guys, one of the camera crew members who was an intern at the time. And every meeting, Jason, this was his style. Jason Garrett would always film install. So it was always a camera in the back of the meeting room, and he would film the install. So it would be recording what he installed, the plays every single week. Joe Avezzano snuck me in there either super early in the morning or super late at night. We were in there for hours, 6, 7, 8 hours. And I would watch every single practice and every single install. And I was writing things down by hand in a notebook. All the plays, all the formation, all the lingo, everything. Special teams, offense, everything by hand. Hundreds of plays by hand so that I can have something to study so that when I got to when I got to San Antonio, we did San Antonio, then Oxnard. When I got to San Antonio, I would have some sort of knowledge of what I was doing. I wasn't completely just oblivious to what was happening. And I promise you that helped me so much because it wasn't Chinese. Because when you get to training camp, it's an accelerated redo of what OTAs and minicamps was, right? Yeah. Like they go faster. The ones are there so they can add more stuff to it. You got the motions and all that kind of stuff. So I was learning all of that, but I had Joe Avezzano who took me into that room and I wrote everything down by hand. And that gave me a little bit of a leg up. So when I got there, I wasn't completely behind the ball.
Yeah, man, that's great. I got to ask one thing. I'm going to let Kelly jump to the current Cowboys season. And you don't need to answer this if you don't want to, but did Jason Garrett undermine Wade Phillips? And he did. Yeah, he did. It seemed that way.
You can ask any guy that was a part of that roster. I did a sit down with Patrick Creighton. And we talked about it. Yeah. Because it was a very, very vanilla offense, and Jason will never say it was. But you ask the guys in that room the day that and talking about, I never witnessed a coach getting fired in front of people. Mm-hmm. My college coach was fired, but Jerry fired Wade in front of the team. Never seen that happen before. Wow. Never seen that happen before. Was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
And it was after that Green Bay. My memory is trying to work my memory. Was it the Green Bay game that you guys lost? It looked like the Cowboys offense was like, it just was a weird game. It was almost like set up to fail. And it
was so, when I tell you the offense was so vanilla, there's games and you can find clips where you can hear from like the sides boom box where the defense are calling out our plays. Oh, +2 switch, +2 splits. Here come the Harvey route. Oh, here come, like, we're calling our stuff out. It was that plain and simple. And that's why I give a ton of credit to Romo and his ability to create and improvise. And, Romo towards the end of, like, my time there, towards the end of his career, like, Romo was calling 60% of the plays from the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
he was calling a lot from the line of scrimmage. Like under Garrett, he was calling a lot. Now Garrett gave him the freedom to do so, but he also was like, I can't keep lining up out here with this lame bull that he was, he was calling a lot on his own with the liners. But after that firing, because Jerry fired Wade in front of everybody, which was even more crazy, was
I can't believe that.
Wade Phillips' son was a tight ends coach or assistant tight ends coach at the time. So imagine your father just gets blamed and fired, and you have to stay and continue on your job. It was like looking at Wes, it was like you could just tell he was like the knot was in his throat. He was fighting back tears, and he fired Wade right in front of us. He basically said, when things like this happen, somebody has to pay the cost for it, yada, yada, yada. And, right now we're relieving Coach Phillips of his duty. And Coach Phillips walked out.
Wow. That's crazy.
That is crazy. I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, it happened in front of us.
I always thought it was shady, but I can't believe it got that.
Well, it always felt like Garrett was the coach in waiting for a while. Like they made him that highest paid offensive coordinator, and it was like, all right, he's the golden boy waiting behind Phillips, and they just were looking for a reason to get rid of Wade.
The next game we played the New York Giants on the road, I believe. It was on the road. We scored 30-something points. We couldn't score 30 to save our life. We scored 30-something points. It was like when we got our weekly playbook. I'm telling you, when we got that week's playbook, because this is before the iPad, you had paper binders.
Yeah.
We opened it up and we were like, what? Like literally looking around like, the hell is this? Where were these plays at for the last 6 weeks? Like it was like, and if you go back and watch that Giants game, you go watch the Green Bay game first. It was a night game against Green Bay. We got dog walked.
I remember that.
We go watch the New York Giants game. We dog walked the Giants. That ball was going. It was, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, what just happened?"
I think they finished. I think you guys finished. It was like 5-1 or 4. I mean, you finished a pretty good record. Garrett that first year.
And here's the thing: it ain't like Jason wasn't the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, and Wade was so defensive minded, you never saw Wade Jason had full control of the offense. If he wanted to run the upside down Yahoo play, he could do it because Wade wasn't involved with offense. He's a defensive guy. He spent 98% of his time on the defensive side. He called the defensive plays for the Cowboys at the time. So Jason, it wasn't like Jason had to bow down to what he wanted. He had full control to call what he wanted. And he chose to call such vanilla plays until he got in that position, and it all changed. Wow. I will forever die on that hill. If I ever sit down with Jason Garrett to do a one-on-one, I would tell him that. He'll deny it, but I'm like, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Well, we jump fast forward to the current Cowboys. Now we kind of got I wouldn't say it's a similar situation to that because I don't think Schotty was that kind, but we've got a deal now where Schottenheimer's talking about. He hasn't ever said anything. I respect the fact that he hasn't said anything negative about Mike McCarthy, but he has talked about some things, philosophies that will change within this offense, right? And he's talked about some things. And I saw your interview, your sit down with him, where you kind of called him out and said, "Hey, listen, you're saying some certain things, but how are they lining up with what we're seeing in the preseason?" He kind of brushed it off as well. It's the preseason. We're not really showing anything here. We wanted to get Joe Milton some pass opportunities where, some of the things we've worried about, or, me and Mike, we've talked about on the show, is the run game, is having a run game. Is he going to run the ball? Says he's going to run the ball, but you're sitting there looking at this offense now, and you've got Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and a new toy you've got to play with. I mean, it's going to be real tempting not to sling that ball all over the place. And a lot of people were saying, Dak Prescott looked like he could be set up to have big numbers, MVP type season, which would mean him throwing the ball a lot. What do you think about, what do you think about what Schottenheimer's saying? And then some of the things that you've seen within this offense that will be different from what we saw under Mike McCarthy, because people talked about predictability under McCarthy a lot too.
Yeah. I'm a man of who listens and who observes. Yes, I talk a lot. Absolutely. But I listen and I observe. And if you go back and you listen to that interview with Brian Schottenheimer, and we thank Coach because it was a great interview. We had Coach for about 10, 11, maybe 12 minutes. Like they were sitting there like behind the scenes, like, let's go wrap it up, like 7 minutes, 9 minutes, 2 minutes. Like they were like on us about that. But there were some telling signs, because here's how I do it, Kelly. I look at it like this. Okay, you tell us that you're going to be a physical running football team, right? And then the first moment you get a chance to be a physical running football team against the padded practice against the Rams, you get dominated and you don't. And these are his words, not mine. These are his words.
Yeah.
During that time in that padded practice, he said in an interview, he said, I got mad and went off script and I threw a bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't get mad and say, you know what, I'm going to get physical and I'm going to run this ball down their throat. No. He said, I got mad, I got off script, I went off script, and I threw a bomb, and we hit it. So that already tells me, first off, because I'm looking at tendencies and habits, right? Who are you when the fire's on? What do you revert back to? Okay, cool. If those people who don't know, Coach Shoddy is a former quarterback. That's what he played, right? That's what he coached. He coached quarterbacks. He was a former quarterback. Okay. Now, also, in that same interview that he did, he sat down with us, his reply to me was to check his record, check his history, and that he had the leading rushing team in Seattle, and the leading rushing team in New York. But again, I listened, I observed. He also said in that same interview with the same mouth and the same tongue that when he was the offensive coordinator, he had to what? He had to bow down to what the offensive coach wanted him to do. Right. He wanted to let Russ cook. Pete Carroll said, you're going to run the football, right? Yeah. In New York, you had Mark Sanchez. You weren't throwing that damn football anywhere, any damn way. You were going to run the football. That's what Rex Ryan, or whoever the coach was at the time, wanted you to do. So when you tell me that check your record, I am checking your record, but I'm also checking your words, because your word says that you were under the orders of what the head coach wanted you to do, and you just got in line with that because you did what I said. I no longer have to ask permission. That's what he said. I didn't say it. He said it.
Yeah.
So you get to your first preseason game. Here's your opportunity to show us, even in its vanilla state,
right?
Because even in vanilla, your offensive line still has to work technique, do all that kind of stuff that they want to do to get your power running game, your physical running game going. What do? Your first time out, you said, I put together a plan because I wanted to see Joe Milton sling it. You coaching or you fanning? Which one is it? Like, which one you doing here? Because, like, we all know he can sling it. That ain't the part. And I thought he didn't do Joe Milton a bunch of favors his first two preseason games. Because if you know, and Coach Schottenheimer has been a coach in this league for 2 decades. He's been around football his entire life. Jesse Holley, I don't need 7 months to tell you what a player is.
Right.
Because I've been around the game that long. I can tell you what a guy is in the first 6 weeks, the first 3 weeks I got him. Oh, he's going to be this. So Brian Schottenheimer knew exactly what he had in Joe Milton. You knew that coming out throwing 6 passes to first open up the gate was not a good recipe for this kid. What you did in the third preseason game was a better recipe. You came out, you ran the ball, you gave him options that didn't require him to hold the ball long, to get it out of his hands quickly. You made those play calls. So, and I'm thankful that he learned in that time. But leading up to what we've seen, because people saying it's just preseason, it's just practice. Well, we have no history of him as a head coach. So all I have to go off of is what I have to go off of. That's you being a head coach is the way that you practice, what I seen with my own eyes in practice, what I heard and talked to from people who I trust in practice, and what you're putting out on film. That's all I have to go off of. So yes, I'm going to judge you off those things. And those things, like I said to him, what you're saying and what you're doing to me right now wasn't lining up. Now, I know you can say we're being vanilla, and that's fine, that's good, that's cool. But in that same interview, Clarence asked him, he said, man, you got to kind of be like, chomping at the bits a little bit. And you got Dak Prescott, and you got CeeDee Lamb, and you got George Pickens, and you got guys like that. And he goes, oh, man. He goes, I lay in bed at night thinking about it. Wait a second now. Hold on. Pause. You what? You do what? And he said in the same interview, out of his mouth, I have to fight the urge. I have to fight the urge to sling that thing. That's what he said. I didn't say it. The man said it. So I just looked at it and I go, okay, we're going to see what happens. But right now, when you are faced with some of your starting lineup, a lot of it, so I should say starting offensive line, not all of it, but a percentage of it, you struggle to run the football. And I don't count the game number 3. Right. I was at practice every day. I should say every day. I was at practice for a week. I had guys that I trusted that was at practice. The running game wasn't, you didn't see many running game highlights. And understand, when you see highlights, you don't see every single play. Because it does you no good if you're trying to create content or get people to view your stuff, whether it's Clarence Hill or John Machota or Joe Hoyt or name the guy, Patrick Nosey, name the person. It does you no good to put out a clip on Twitter that's a run stop for no gain. No one's watching that. Right. What you want to see is you want to see Blue break a run and go 70 yards. You want to see George Pickens sky over and head top somebody. You want to see, that's what you want to see. But there's 70 other plays in practice that didn't go as well as what they showed you.
Yeah.
And so that's what you have to remember when you're talking about having boots on the ground. And the running game there was no point in time at all against this defense, against this current iteration of the Cowboy defense, where the running game dominated the day of practice. At all. You can ask anybody who was there.
Damn, Jesse, you ain't doing me. You ain't making me feel good. Number one, I put $300 on the Cowboys over 7.5, and I.
Now here's the thing. Now here's the thing that you have going for you. You will see, like, I said this on Twitter. I said this in person to people. CeeDee Lamb has tapped into another level. I'm not joking. This is not me being wide receiver biased. This dude might be unguardable. Like, at the end of this year, CeeDee Lamb might be the best wide receiver in all of football. He is just on a completely another level. Like, he is. If Dak stays healthy with George Pickens, you're going to see some beautiful things in the passing game offensively. You know what I'm saying? Just because CeeDee Lamb had 1,300 yards last year with Cooper Rush and a bum shoulder.
Yes.
The dude is unfreaking real. I'm telling you, he is ascending to that level where I don't know how you stop. Like, you got to kind of, like, I don't know how they're going to stop him. Really. Like, he can get off like that. Still waiting to see how they're going to implement George Pickens in the offense. But CeeDee Lamb is at a level right now, even when he, like, you could just tell. I said this the other day when he went to the press conference. Again, I listen to what people say. I watch their mannerisms. I'm a receiver. I know the code. I know the coding of how people say things. Leading up to them signing George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb said all the right things. There's no number 2. We're 1A, 1B. Great to be here, like little bro. Yada, 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 yada. And the talk got louder and louder and louder and louder about George Pickens. And then CeeDee spoke. Right? When CeeDee spoke, he sat to the table and he basically told you how I put it out there was a couple years ago when Kevin Durant was with the Golden State Warriors. There was this back and forth that he and Pat Beverly were having, and the reporter was saying something about, like, hey, Patrick Beverly said da 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 da, and Kevin Durant looked at the reporter and said, "I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am." He looked around and he says, "I'm Kevin Durant. Y'all know who I am." And when CeeDee sat at the podium, he sat at the podium and he said, about how good he is, and he was like, "If you don't believe me, well, just wait, you'll see." Yeah. That was his way of saying, "Listen, guys, I'm thankful to have George Pickens. So glad that he's here. I'm Kevin Durant."
Yeah. Like,
you know who I am. Y'all know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant at that time was the best scorer in the league. I didn't say player. I'm saying nobody could score like easy money. Yeah. CeeDee was basically sat there and said, "I'm thankful for George. Glad he's here. Can't wait to work with him. Don't you guys confuse it, though. I'm Kevin Durant. I'm him. I'm CeeDee Lamb. These 8s ain't fade. I'm just letting y'all know. And if you think I ain't him, don't worry. I'll show you guys in a couple of weeks." I said, "Oh, okay. Okay. That I can believe in. That right there. And so offensively, you're going to be able to do some things, but we're going to come to that point where you're going to say, "Oh, Dak, you got to score every damn drive now."
Yeah, just puts all the pressure on him to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the recipe for disaster.
But is it stubbornness from the organization? Because I mean, I grew up with the Cowboys, and Tony Dorsett, and Emmitt Smith, and I mean, DeMarco Murray. I mean, you always Zeke early years. I mean, why have the Cowboys in the last few seasons just seemed to be, we could just throw anyone back there and we'll be fine?
Yeah.
When we got to a point where the league decided that running back wasn't a thing anymore, right? Like I do believe that when they got Zeke wasn't for that benefited from having Zeke. Zeke wasn't.
He was for Romo, right?
He was the finishing piece in the Tony Romo era.
Yeah.
Like we did this running game with that, because remember that offensive line had Frederick, Zach, Tyron, you know what I'm saying? Leary. Like it was one of the best offensive line. So they were saying, like, dog, we got this dude back here running the ball and Tony at quarterback. It was the final piece for that Romo era. And then his body failed him, and then Dak came along and they tried to but what ended up happening was you couldn't never get past where it was. And honestly, what we need defensively, it ain't sexy. Jerry's about sexy. D tackles don't sell tickets, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry. D tackles don't sell tickets. So to pour resources in there is almost kind of a sin for Jerry, because you even look back, you look back even when they had, getting DeMarcus Ware and
that's Spears.
That was all because of who the big Tuna wanted.
Yeah.
Tuna wanted him because he understood I need those guys up front. Right? As good as Jay Ratliff was, that was a 7th round pick. Jay Ratliff superseded what he was supposed to do. A 7th round pick wasn't supposed to go get a $40 million deal. He didn't, but he did, right? He was hungry enough to go and do it, and he did it. But resources at that position, it's not sexy. It's not sexy to Jerry. And so it's always, we'll find a guy. We'll go get a guy. We'll go get, Woods, or we'll go get, some other guy that we're trying to just fill in those spots. And for the life of me, I don't understand it, because it's kicked our butt every single time. And you know it. When you get to January, December, late November, December, January football, you better be able to stop the run. Because teams, if you don't, and we've all seen it, in those third quarters in the last couple of years when teams go, hey, guys, listen, we're going to run the ball 7 times in a row, 8 times in a row, 9 times in a row. And there's nothing you can do. You know how deflating that is? Like, as a fan, you feel defeated. Imagine being the man. Imagine being the man and going, what the holy heck is going on?
Yeah.
We can't stop them. Michael Irvin always talk about, you beat a man by beating him at his strength. Or you beat a man by beating him at his weaknesses. You break a man by beating him at his strength. Imagine you're the best that we have, and you getting pushed around. Right, you're broken. You're defeated. You don't come back from that. And the Cowboys have yet to truly put assets. I guess put asset in Mozzie Smith, but that was I knew, and I'm not to pile on Mozzie, but I knew Mozzie wasn't going to be a player when he said, I don't care about football. I just want to fight people. I said it. I literally said that day, he's not going to be a good player.
Yeah.
I said, you don't care about football? Well, what are you doing? This ain't boxing. If you don't care about football, you rather fight people, go box. Go do MMA. Go do what Greg Hardy and them was doing. Go do MMA. This is football. So you always thought he was just going to beat people up. And I'm like, you're not beating up a 29, 30-year-old dude. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you just ain't beating that dude up. You better have some skill with you. You better bring a little something else, and you just want to fight, because they want to fight too. And they fight, and they strong. So yeah, man, I don't know. Offensively, I think this team will be really good. Just because you have unguardable weapons. Dak's going to be good. CD's going to be good. It's going to be great. Pickett's going to be great. I think Ferg has a bounce back year, but it's going to be on their shoulders to be absolutely perfect. And that's just a very, very difficult thing to do. And I think sometimes Dak gets depressing sometimes. And he thinks, because he's human, he's like, man, if every time we score, they score, we score, they score, we score, they score, he's going to have to feel like, hey, we got to go score again. And that's when he gets into trouble of trying to go and do more than he has to do because he's trying to compensate for the lack thereof on defense.
Well, that's what you see with the running, like in the playoffs, and Kelly and I have talked about it ad nauseum. I mean, Dak, you want to give him his hate, whatever, go ahead. But there's two things you got to do in the playoffs: run the football and stop the run. And go look at the Cowboys stats on either. They're terrible. They're terrible in the playoffs on both of it. And I was hopeful that this year, I mean, Kelly and I were pounding the table for a running back in the draft. You had your guy from North Carolina, Hampton. I mean, there was a lot of running backs that they could have got early, and they just didn't address it. And I sure wish they would have. I got hope in Williams.
From North Carolina, we got Javonte Williams from North Carolina. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing, right? Totally. Hey, and the thing too, Mike, though, that we've talked about though, when we're sitting there talking, when Jesse, I don't know if you saw my face when he was talking about the 7th round DT. Listen, you got Cowboys fans, and I've said it numerous times on this show, and everybody thinks I'm trying to just piss on their leg or something, but they've been talking about like we did address that DT, but we got a 7th round defensive tackle, and I went and pulled up the stats of the last time that a 7th round defensive tackle made this roster, and it was back when Jay Ratliff, and that was a long damn time ago. So I said, listen, if we're depending on a 7th round defensive tackle to make significant contributions in the run stop game, like that's how down bad we are, right? And what I don't understand is that while it may not be a sexy pick, there were several guys throughout the free agency that were very affordable that got snagged up, and the Cowboys just sat there and they didn't make any moves, and they're sitting there and they, you got Mozzie Smith, and I'm sitting there screaming like, all right, well, who's going to be the guy that's going to be behind him, or who's the guy that we can maybe get that's an upgrade over him? And I just felt that there were so many people out there. I felt like there were several free agent guys that would have been instant upgrades to that position. And Jerry just sat on his hands. And I'm like, well, you make the trade for George Pickens and, you boost our offense, but you continue to ignore one of our biggest weaknesses on the defense. Why?
Again,
it makes no sense.
You want to know where a man's heart lies, look where he puts his money.
Yeah.
And like Steven knows, Jerry knows, Will McClay, everyone knows that you need a defensive tackle. And what did they do? They said, we're going to go and spend resources and money. We're going to go and get a receiver. Again, that goes back to tell you that what Shotty's thinking, what Jerry's thinking. They're thinking about this offense. They're thinking about how can we sell more tickets? How can we make this thing the greatest show on turf? How can we make it team 30, 40, 50 burger if we have to? Because those are the things that sell TV ratings. Having and passing up. This is a passing league. We all know this. And if you watch The Gambler, this man is not dumb. He's not dumb. Everything that he does is absolutely calculated. Everything that he does is absolutely calculated. And when they had a chance to go out in free agency and spend money and resources on those particular needs, they went and got, they went and got Kenneth Murray. I don't know how good he's gonna be.
Solomon Thomas. They went
and got all these other guys that's be like, and they're trying to put hope as a strategy, thinking like we could just patch this thing up a little bit instead of going to spend the money and going to get a real resource. But again, it's not sexy. You don't sell many defensive tackle jerseys. They're not putting defensive tackles on the tickets. They're not, what I'm saying? They're not wanting to spotlight the dude who's in the number 90 jersey. They just don't. They just don't. And they can tell me all day long, we were trying to see what Mozzie Smith was going to be. They have to be year 3, year 4. We had Greg Ellis on our show, on DLS podcast. We had Greg Ellis, who former first-round pick, played along the line of the Dallas Cowboys, who coached Mozzie Smith. And Greg Ellis said, man, he's been through a couple defensive coordinators, and he goes, we had a little something with how we were doing it last year. He goes, but the style they're going back to is the one style that he can't, because that style that Eberflus wants is to get off the ball fast, drive up the field. Ball is snapped, Mozzie still in the stands. You lost. You lost. You lost. If you're not simultaneously moving when the ball is snapped, if that guard or center has gotten the ball snapped and or step and you are still in your stance, you're done. You're not going to be able to anchor down. And it was something that, again, I always You can go back. This is visible. If you go back during the mini camps or OTAs, one of the two, and the Cowboys put out one of their hit pieces, right? And it was a part of it where the D-line and D-line coach, they were doing the drill. They were doing the hoop drill, right? They were doing the hoop drill, and I want you guys to go and find this. They're doing the hoop drill, and Mozzie gets up to do the hoop drill. Now, if you know anything about the big hoop drill is, they do it at the combine. It's a drill to a dude to drive off the ball, stay low. This is the objective of this drill, to stay low as you come around this big loop. You'll see some guys pick up a towel on one side of the thing, put it down on the other towel, and finish through. Mozzie goes and does this drill, and the coach is screaming, let's go, like hyping him up. He gets stuck because he's standing straight up, right? He never grabs a towel, he gets stuck, and he finishes the drill. And the coach yells out to Mozzie, and I sent it to the clip to the guys, and the coach yelled out, I don't care if you didn't get low, you competed and finished the drill. And I said, oh my God. I said, we are not praising him for not getting low. And what is his biggest problem? He doesn't get low. So don't praise him because he finished. Dog cuss him because you told him to get low. And so it's those little things that, whether it's because a lot of times the bad habits, either you're coaching it or you're allowing it. And I seen in that moment that they were allowing it to happen, and it is what it is. And that's what we have to deal with every single Sunday for the last 3 seasons. And I don't know what he's going to be if he makes this team or not this year, but if he does, it's
Well, let me ask you this, because Eberflus, he's known for good defenses, always had good run defense. He didn't have a lot of talent in Indianapolis and put together a top 10 defense. He's always been up there. Could scheme overdo lack of talent? Could it mask deficiencies that you have with personnel, or we're going to be in trouble? I'm looking for hope, man. I've got to bring hope.
He giving you the same look that I gave you when I told you. I said, you know what? Everybody's talking about Eberflus and the scheme, and I said scheme and a coach is not going to help these defensive linemen getting pushed the hell off the line of scrimmage.
And that's the one area when you talk about scheming, you can't scheme like that in the trenches. You gotta have some Jimmies and Joes, bro. Like you gotta have some Jimmies and Joes, man. Like that's where it comes down to. If you're getting pushed two gaps over. Scheme what? What are we going to scheme? How are we going to scheme that? You keep getting pushed. My linebacker's supposed to be coming downhill. Well, he can't come downhill because every time he's coming forward, you're in his lap. And that's the problem with, you need Jimmies and Joes. Good schemes are because of the Jimmies and Joes who run it to a T. That's the biggest thing. And also, I'll also say, remember when Eberflus was in Indianapolis, who was he going up against? Like that matters as well too, right? Yeah. Like that matters of who these guys were going up against. What were they doing offensively? Offensively, I believe when they were there for a short time, he may have had Luck, and he may have had the running back, 28. What's his name?
Adai, or is it?
No.
Oh, the guy who's what's his name? Taylor? Was it Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. So They were running the football a lot in Indianapolis, which means that defense wasn't on the field a lot of those times. So you got to look at who are their opponents, who are they going against, every single year during those times. And he had some pretty good defenses, and he was able to do some certain things. But you're talking about now, like you're going up against Saquon.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out Saquon. And the Eagles, for all it's worth, have one or two first or second best offensive line in the league. You can kind of say them, Detroit, however you want to put those guys together. Washington is building something pretty solid down there with what they have with that quarterback. So these are the guys that you have to contend with. You got to contend with now your defense going up against McVay and Shanahan, right, in the NFC, against Green Bay. Like all these teams, when they had to play the Cowboys, they just said, okay, we're going to line up, we're going to run the football at y'all.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter because the guy that you had there wasn't able to defeat the guys that they had with scheme. It's one thing to scheme. It's one thing. Another thing to have scheme with players. So if you're scheming and you don't have the Jimmys and Joes, and they are also scheming with better Jimmys and Joes, whose plan gonna work?
Yeah. Well, you're depressed.
Well, what do you? Let me. I'm gonna throw out a line here, Mike. Maybe we can. Maybe Jesse can give Cowboys Nation and the fans in the cave a little bit of hope. What are the chances? What are the chances that you think that the Cowboys will make some kind of a trade for a defensive tackle? They know this is a problem. If you go into the season, you're just going to keep that a problem. A trade, yeah. Something. I'm not saying like a big time trade, but something like they've been talking about. I've heard some things getting thrown about. Mentioned as Tolbert as a possible trade candidate, maybe. What do you think the chances are of a trade like that maybe going down for a? It's not going to be an elite guy. I'm not thinking that, but maybe a trade that improves a little bit on the interior of that defensive line. You see that happen at all?
Yeah, but I mean, again, you're so bad there. You going to get a guy who's a little bit above Mozzie doesn't help the cause, right? Stop them from going. They go 150 instead of going 200. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It has to be a significant upgrade. Like you got to go get me like Jeffrey Simmons. You got to go get me Sexy Dexy, that level player to really be like, okay, we got something here.
Yeah.
Because other than that, you trading Tolbert to go get another guy, he becomes a rotational piece. If he's not that dude, he's a rotation, and it's him and it's Osa and it's Solomon and it's a rotational guy. So it leaves us back sort of in the same spot. It's just it's the tallest little person. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't go and get Yao Ming. You just go and get you go get the tallest short person, and it may help a little bit. But it doesn't give you the significance that you actually wholeheartedly need in our division and in our conference.
Yeah.
No,
it's going to be interesting. Well, thankfully, my Canes play on the 31st. I'll be there Sunday night. The Cowboys play Thursday. So I told Kelly, I said, I can't go 0 for 2. I better at least go 1 for 1, hopefully 2-0. But we'll see what happens. Wanted to finish it up on this, man. Your story, I just want to say to everyone, just to pause for a second. Jesse Holley coming in the cave, it's been an honor. But listening to your stories, just absolutely inspirational. And, I hope I'm going to make my kids listen to this and anyone else. Because it's all about, but really perseverance, and it's so easy for people just kind of throw in the towel and say, hey, it didn't work for me, blame somebody, and just kind of move on with your life, and it is, but just the story that you had of perseverance is just amazing, and just can't thank you enough for coming in there and sharing that with us.
People go on the internet and be like, oh, you only had one play. I'd be like, okay, I'm fine with that.
Hey, my response would be like, how many do you have though?
Yeah,
like that.
You're sorry, you son. I'm like, all right. I'm like, bro, I live a damn good life. So the only thing that people can say that can really hurt my feelings, and not even say, you gotta find a picture of me skinny dipping on a cold day. you got a picture of me on shriveled up time. You got me. Listen, you can't say nothing about my receding hairline. I already know it's receding. You can't tell me that I got run down. I already know that I got run down. Like there's nothing you can say unless you got me on shriveled up time. That's the only thing that can truly crush my spirit. If you caught me skinny dipping in November and my soldier is tucked in the helmet, you got me.
I found a picture of you getting hit pretty good. You're on the wrong end of a hit. That don't bother you though.
Yeah, that don't bother me, man. Because again, I
hit many times.
I got hit at a Power 5 school. But if you catch me on shriveled up time, you got me.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, man, when you're on social media, if you're on social media in this day and age, man, you gotta have thick skin because that's what people sit there and that's what they do. They want to come after people and say things and try to tear people down. But honestly, like Mike said, man, from where you were at to where you are now, you could have went down a completely different road, man, and ended up in a completely different situation. But having faith and having faith and getting where you are, that's awesome.
I used to steal cars as a teenager. Like that was our thing in New Jersey. I used to steal cars. What changed my life was we stole a car one night. Quick story. We stole a car one night. We were going, if you live in North Jersey, if you live in the true part of Jersey, We went to a skating rink called Skate 22. Okay, it was on the Highway 22.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And to get to Skate 22, you had to go through a town called Kenilworth. Okay, or you had to take the long way all the way around, which is way too long. We used to steal cars to go there. We would leave the car somewhere. We get to the. You just had to get to the party. If you got to the party, you found a girl that's going back your way. You ride back with them. And we stole a red Honda Prelude. Me and 3 other dudes. We stole a red Honda Prelude, and we were going to Skate 22, and we had to go through Kenilworth. And Kenilworth had this intersection where there's a Dunkin' Donuts, a convenience store called Krauser's, right? And it was a mom and pop gas station and a post office. And the police used to always sit in the parking lot, not the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, the post office. We get to this very light where the police are always sitting. The car breaks down. We push the car across to the mom and pop little gas station place. And now we're thinking about, because we're probably about like on foot, probably another 30 minutes, 40 minutes walk. It's in like February, right? Now, mind you, I'm the hottest high school athlete in the state. I'm one of the hottest athletes, football and basketball. And Mike, I'm gonna get to that hurricane story I got for you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm one of the hottest dudes out there. I say to my guys, like, yo, I'm about to run to the Krauser to get a hot chocolate because we got to walk on our hands. And it's cold. It's Jersey cold. I walk into the Krausers. As I'm coming out of the Krausers, the cops pull up. One of my boys tried to run. Once he tried to run, it was over for everybody. I watched 3 of my homeboys get arrested for a stolen car. And I walked back home. I had about a 50-minute walk back home in the cold from Kenilworth back to Roselle. And I thought to myself, that moment was enough. I could have lost everything. I had over 85 scholarship offers for football and basketball, major Division I's. And I was in a stolen car going to a skating rink, and I watched 3 of my dudes. And those 3 dudes that I hung around with, one just got out of prison for doing 22 years for stabbing and killing a kid outside of one of my basketball games. The other 2 did 10 plus years in jail for aggravated robbery. This was who I hung around. So when I know my story and I know what I've been through and I know what I've gotten to, it just, like, again, you can't tell me, you saying to me, not you guys, but a person who I don't know saying to me that you suck. You had 7 catches. I'm like, yeah, but I had 7 catches in the National Football League. And one point, I was regarded as one of the best athletes in the world, Craig, like in the whole world. Top flight. I went from top flight security to an NFL player. You can't tell me anything. You can't tell me anything. And now I'm living my second dream. I always wanted to do what I'm doing now. I wanted to be like on ESPN and TV and radio, but that time will come whenever it's supposed to come. But I make a living talking about sports. They pay me. I got health insurance. I got benefits. I got all this to talk about sports. I work 1 hour a day, fellas. Yeah. Like my main show, my DLLS show is 1 hour. That's it. And if I did not want to do anything else, I don't have to. I can work 1 hour a day, 5 hours a week, and be Gucci. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like,
oh, yeah, that's my retirement plan.
Yeah, that other stuff for me is like, I'm thankful. Like, I'm so thankful that I'm in a position to do so. I put the time in. Don't get me wrong. Like, this wasn't nepotism type stuff. I had to put the work in to get there, and even to get here and stay here, it still takes work to do. Yeah, man. Like, my life is good, bro. Like, I live a pretty damn good life, man. I live a pretty damn good life. And Tag.
So and it could have been better if you were a hurricane. So let's hear it.
All right. So here's a hurricane story. Now, I wanted to go to Miami. I loved, because, okay, you have to remember, Miami wasn't ACC when I was growing up. Miami was Big East.
Yeah.
So Big East was Penn State, I believe, Rutgers. No, Penn State.
No, Penn State was Rutgers, Boston College.
Miami. Yeah. All those games played up north on NBC. Like that's what I watched.
Yeah.
So like all the teams that I saw like you saw the the Ohio States, the Michigans, you saw the Miamis, you saw the Rutgers, you saw Notre Dame, you saw all those schools is what I saw growing up. And Miami at that time when I'm growing up, remember I graduated high school in 2003, right? So this is I saw and I'm hot. I'm hot. I saw the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. You
Yeah.
feel what I'm saying? I'm looking at the two. I'm like, damn. Yeah, I'm like, what? And so I'm seeing all this, and I'm like, I'm going to Miami. I had that I got at a like a resale thrift store. I don't know if you remember this running back. His name was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, Kareem Abdul, from Miami Dolphins.
From Miami Dolphins. So
Yeah.
I had that jersey because I wanted everything Miami. I was like, and then I had that one, and then I had another Miami. Forget what jersey it was, but I had a Miami jersey. I was going to Miami. I'm out of here. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to Miami. It's going to be lit. I get a scholarship offer from Miami. We in there. So Randy Shannon, who is recruiting the Northeast, comes to my school. I'm sitting in my coach's office. Now, my back is turned to the door. You guys know how it was for athletes in high school. Once you got to like my afternoon classes, I ain't do jack nothing. I was in my coach's office. They was like, listen, man, you be ready for the game. Basketball or football, just get ready. And my basketball coach, my football coach, all were gym teachers. My AD was super cool. So my back is to the door. I'm sitting at my coach's desk. My back is to the door. The door opens up and someone comes in. I never turn around. I'm playing some like ninja slice on the computer, right? I'm supposed to be in English class somewhere. I don't know. So finally, my coach walks in and he goes, hey, coach, how you doing, man? What's going on? He says, how you doing, coach, man? I'm good. I'm just here to see Jesse. And so coach goes, you're here to see Jesse? He's right here. So we're sitting in the same office for like 15, 20 minutes, and I never turn around, and he can't see me from the back, whatever. It's Randy Shannon. And so we get to talking, and he has his Miami National Championship ring on, and he's decked out in the gear. Now, my coach, when he finds out it's Miami, he runs to the main office. Because he and I already talked. Like, this visit was going to solidify me going to Miami. So he's like, we're going to make an announcement over the loudspeaker that I'm going to Miami. So Randy Shannon and I are talking, and he kept referring to the university as the U. He just kept saying it. He just kept saying it. It's the U, the U. He just kept saying the U. And then he said, so at this point in time, again, I'm hot. I told every single school that I was going to that I'm playing football and basketball. I had every single one of them. And every single one of them said, okay. Said, whatever it takes. So we get there. And so coach is like, Randy's like, hey, you got any questions? So I'm like, yeah, coach, man. I'm like, man, listen. He's like, man, I'm like, thank you for the offer. I'm ready. Like, I am, boy, I'm so happy. Thank you. He goes, I said, I just want to get a chance to sit down and talk to the basketball coach. So he's like, for what? And I'm like, well, I don't know if they told you, but like, I'm playing football and basketball in college. I'm like, coach, I'm all state, won a state championship. I'm like that, coach. I'm nice. Like, I'm nice. And at the time, basketball really was my first love. I didn't really like football. I played it because my mentor was like, hey, you should try this. Basketball was my thing. And he looks at me and he goes, basketball at the U? So there ain't gonna be no basketball at the U. So now I'm like, huh? He's like, at the U, we win championships. He said, at the U, you're gonna commit yourself to 100% football. He said, if you can do something else, it'll probably be track so that you can get fast enough. So then he says to me, he goes, do you know I don't have to leave the state of Florida for recruits? I'm in New Jersey in the wintertime. He said, I'm here to see you and a defensive tackle from Irvington, New Jersey. I don't leave the state for recruits. So you talking about some basketball, that ain't happening at the U. So you need to figure it out what you want to do, because you won't be no basketball at the U.
Wow.
I'm like, first of all, no coach had talked to me like that. None. I'm talking Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Virginia, Ohio State, Michigan State, Rutgers, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Texas, Oklahoma. Nobody. I told Texas, I told Oklahoma, I told Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, I told them don't even come back to New Jersey, because I didn't know anything about Texas. I'm an inner city kid from Jersey. I thought Texas was all about no black folks is going to Texas because they're not going to hang me in some back alley somewhere. So I'm like, and then coach came, he had some tight jeans on and some cowboy boots. And I was like, you mad corny, bro. Nah, I'm not going to Texas. I told him, I'm not going there. I'm not going to Texas. UCLA, USC, you name it. You name it. And he said, won't be no basketball at the U. And when I tell you he got up and he walked out, my coach came running in there all happy, like, are we making the announcement? I said, I'm not going to Miami. He said, what? That's school you wanted to go to? And I go, oh, they told me it could be no basketball at the U. He said, what? He goes, who said? I said, he just said it. And I told him, thank you, but no thanks. He's like, what? What do you? I said, nah. And I was so hurt. I was supposed to be a Hurricane. And till this day, a quick another Hurricane story is I have locks today, right now. My hair is because of the University of Miami. On that night, I'm sorry, it was the night before, it was the year before that. No, it was the year before that. Miami came to Chapel Hill. And no, it was that night. It was the night we beat you guys. It was that night. Miami came to Chapel Hill, and that's when the Trick Daddy song, Let's Go.
Yeah.
Done it. That song, right? Yeah. So pregame, it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was the coolest thing I ever seen. Pregame, that come on, and there's about 15 Hurricanes. I'm talking about gold teeth, dreadlocks, and they in a huddle. And they like, let's go. And they doing this. And their hair is going on. And I said, I'm standing there and I'm like, that's fire. I'm like, I'm in
North Carolina. I should be in Miami.
I said, oh my God. I said, they so hype over there. They shaking their dreads. I'm like, yo. And then they put their helmet on and the dreads come out the back of their helmet. I was like, this. I'm like, I'm doing that. I'm like, I have people ask me, oh, why'd you go your locks? What's the meaning behind you growing your locks? I'm like, because I seen Miami shaking their dreads before a game and I wanted to do it. That's the only reason. That is the only, and I had the little small ones. Remember Eddie Murphy had the movie Metro? Called me Metro on campus, and I wanted to cut my hair so bad. I wanted to cut my hair so bad because I always wore a low cut with the waves. I always kept it like I was at the barbershop twice a week, and I had to go through that dirty looking phase. I hated it. I was ready to cut my hair. And then the girl was like, "Ooh, you cute with your locks. They growing." I was like, "That's all I need to hear." So yeah, so those are my Miami stories, man.
You got some Miami influence right there.
I'm so thankful that I did not go to Miami. I would have been dead.
You would have been in the 7th floor crew. That was around the time the 7th floor crew was there.
I would have been dead or 19 kids by now. The women, see, like the Miami women, kind of women. Like, don't get me wrong. I love me a black woman. But the Miami Latinas? And I know me like that, like 17, 18-year-old Jesse, fresh out of Jersey in Miami. I would have been over the bridge. I would have been in the pork and bean projects. And I'd have been telling cats like, oh, I'm from Jersey. And they would have had me hanging from a tree somewhere dead because I would have been in somebody's girl bedroom. That was me. I know that about myself at that time. Mm-hmm. I would have been wrong. I'd have been telling I ain't know nothing about no Zoes or know nothing about that. And I would have been out there talking cash money, and they would have fried me. They would have fried me in Miami. and I would have been I would have gone like imagine going to class in Miami.
Well, do you know the 7th floor crew though? You know that
Yes.
story. Okay.
Yes.
With
Yeah.
Greg Olson.
Yeah. Greg Olson.
Rapid
Jersey guy.
ability.
He's a Jersey guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, one time, if you heard his rap, and anyone who hasn't, G-Reg, that's why we have a guy
G-Reg.
called that.
No, I would have been in there.
If you ever get a chance, he was on Dan Patrick, and Dan Patrick asked him about it, and his face turned red as an apple, and he said, probably the most embarrassing and lowest point of my life is I got daughters, I got kids, and YouTube just kind of opened it back up, but it was wild times in Miami.
Bro,
hopefully get back to it.
I know how I acted when I was a freshman and sophomore at Carolina.
Yeah.
And I was telling teammates, like, listen, don't confuse us being friends and teammates. Like, we teammates, I'm gonna do my job, but we're not friends. So your girl's not off limit to me. That's what I was telling teammates. When it came time for me to move off campus, in order to move off campus, your sophomore year, spring of your sophomore year, you had to have a roommate. Nobody wanted to room with me. Nobody. It's like, nah, bro. Nah, we can't bring no girls around you. We can't never bring no girls around you. You're a savage. And like literally my best friend to this day he played safety. His name's Kareem Taylor. My best friend. Nobody wanted to room with him. Nobody wanted to room with me. So by process of elimination, we roomed together because we're the same person. We're just different. I'm city, he country. His birthday the 10th, mine is the 8th of January. He's from Virginia, I'm from Jersey. But we love the ladies.
Yeah,
and
you would have been perfect for the White House back in the day. You'd have fit right in with that.
I was gonna say somebody just said in the chat. I was about to say that instead of Mr. Fourth and Long, it's Mr. Stew, your girl.
Listen, that was my thing, bro. Like I ain't smoke, I don't drink, I ain't do none of that. I still don't to this day. I don't none. My vice. I love those ladies, man. That was Clarence, Jeff.
You're like Eazy-E. You remind me of like Eazy-E. Ladies, I love them. You know
minus the AIDS.
Minus the AIDS and the drinking and the smoking and all the drugs.
Yeah, but we were talking about that today, and I was like, man, if I was a Cowboy in the 90s, I said I would have been putting up Wilt numbers. Like Wilt numbers.
That child support would have hit hard.
Yeah, all my checks.
Like Tyreek Hill. But
put together his own football team and she could field his own damn football team.
I know what hinders me. That's why you ain't got no stories. You ain't got nobody. I ain't never ever been. I should say that. I've been in 2 strip clubs my whole life. One, I was on a recruit visit in Michigan State, and the other one, I was like 19, 20 years old. I went back home one day. But like, I don't go to strip clubs. I don't do all that. No, for what? When them girls are messing around, I'll be like, come on, girl, let me get you out of here. No. No.
Man, we've been going so long. I hope you're not a time crunch. But I had one last thing we just wanted to ask, because
we rolling. Get 2 more things. Get 3 more things. We rolling. We good.
All right, man, I appreciate it. National championship basketball team, Roy Williams, obviously culture at their basketball team, unbelievable. And you see the hot button in the Cowboys, culture. I'm changing the culture to do the culture. I mean, does culture really matter at this level? And do you think Cowboys have an issue with culture because of the top down and the way the organization's run?
So my soliloquy on culture is it's not a real thing. Let me take that back. It is a real thing. But there's a difference between culture and way. What do I mean by that? You hear the term the Patriots way. You don't hear Patriots culture. You hear the Ravens way. You hear the Niners way. You don't hear culture. And the difference in that is way is something that is done top down, right? When you become a Baltimore Raven, they draft players that fit the Baltimore way. They sign free agents, that fit the Baltimore way. And if you don't, you're no longer a part. You hear the Steelers way. If you don't fit that mold, you no longer are part of that, because their president, their GM, their head of scouting, their head coach, the janitor, the nutritionists, the trainers. Everybody follows the same way. Culture, to me, is this small little isolated group of people who you're trying to get to come together and band together to negate and push back against the forces that are outside trying to push against that. And what ends up happening is, and why culture is so difficult to do in football, is because I need 53 dudes, 53 plus dudes to buy in to the culture. If I have one dude who has enough influence, who doesn't believe in the culture, he pulls 5 dudes. Now there's a chink in the armor, right? And now my culture can't be complete because I don't have all my guys walking on the same string. And that's the difference between changing a culture and changing the way. That's the problem with the Cowboys. They're trying to create culture, but the force of the way is greater.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps it from becoming anything of significance. The way of the Cowboy way is a way that is very prima donna. It is very 53 brands. It is very marketing. It is very me first. It is very, yeah, I want the team to win if it wins by me being able to be who I am and what I want to do. And if that matters in the course of winning, then great. But if it doesn't, I'm out. So that's what I looked at when you talk about, you look at Carolina. When Carolina came in, that was a Carolina way.
Yeah.
Right? You point to the passer when somebody passed the ball to you. We didn't slap the floor. They did that in Durham. You didn't do that in Carolina. You see what I'm saying? Like there was a way that the Carolina way that you walked into, and everybody abided by that. Part of the reason why a lot of times you'll see like programs like Carolina basketball, we haven't hired a coach who isn't from the Carolina family. Yeah. Not because there aren't more qualified coaches, but there's a way that each one of these coaches understand. That started with Dean Smith, that went to Bill Guthridge, that went through all the other coaches, Matt Doherty. Well, it didn't work for Matt Doherty, but it went through Matt Doherty. And then it went through Roy Williams, and then now it's Hubert Davis. It's the Carolina way.
Yeah.
Okay? We don't have a culture at Carolina. It's a way. The U had a way it used to do things. It's lost its way. It needs to get back to that, but it had a way. Michael and them started and formulated a way. It was the Hurricane way. And for the Cowboys, when I hear culture, I look at that and I go, if you don't have everybody buying into your culture, you have a new point because it won't work. It has to be a way. It has to be. When I was in New England, it was a way. Everybody.
Well, that's what I'd say. You went to New England and you were at Dallas. I mean, how much different was?
It was a way. It was a way. I listened and heard Bill Belichick in a meeting as we were getting closer to final cuts and he was getting prepared for the season. And he said, I'm telling you guys now, when we get to the season, if I see you in the mall at autograph signings, if you doing commercials and you doing stuff in season, you'll answer to me. Everything go. If you ain't get that done in the off season, when we get to September, it's about football. So if it has not been cleared by me, I watched him at the time. It was Joseph Adai. You brought the name up earlier. You brought me back to this. Joseph Adai was supposed to be the starting running back for the New England Patriots the year I was there. Calvin Ridley and someone else ended up being it, but it was Joseph Adai was supposed to be in that conversation. They cut Joseph Adai because he couldn't make the conditioning test. They cut him on 55, 56, 57. Joseph Adai, you didn't make it. Bill Belichick said, go inside.
Wow.
He was still catching his breath. By the time we got done and we were going inside, he had black trash bag over his shoulder on his way out.
That's a message.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? This was going to be your starting running back. And he said, if you can't take conditioning serious, you can't be here. And they moved on without him. And like that was the way that they did it. When I got to New England, I asked about the chaplain. I was like, man, when are we going to do Bible study and stuff like that? And they said, oh, the chaplain's not here anymore. I said, what happened? I asked Danny Woodhead and Matthew Slater. And they said, oh, Bill fired him. I said, well, what did he do? He said something in church one day that Bill didn't like. So he fired him. Couldn't come back. The word got back to Bill about a message that he said in church, and Bill said, no longer come back here.
Wow. Is he going to translate in North Carolina? Speaking of Bill, I just don't see that working.
Yeah,
I don't see that working.
It's a great little story. We'll get the TV time for it, but I find it hard to believe that we'll see Bill here longer than 365 days.
Wow.
Yeah, just my feeling. That's just my
feeling. I would.
And then he'll promote his son to be the next head coach. Nepotism at its finest. And I'm not mad at nepotism. I love nepotism. I wish I had somebody in my place to nepotize me to the top. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be that good.
I'm just gonna say, if I was Bill's age, man, and I seen the girl that Bill's dating, no hate on that, man. That's what the life I'd be living. I'd be on the beach. I don't need to be doing all that college recovery. That college coach, I'd be out there enjoying my young girlfriend right there.
Man, I'll be blue chewed up. I'll be
yeah. That's what I don't need to be putting in all that. I don't need to be putting in all that necessary work.
Like Skittles. I'll be like they sleeping all the season. I'll be like this, like that's a cold wedding, dog.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, and I don't know if you participate in any of these, so I'm not knocking them because I actually went to one. But the Cowboys do a lot of these tours
right now. Oh, my fault.
No, they do a lot of these tours where they have players the day before the game. They're doing meet and greets and they're doing public signings out in the public. Yeah. And I mean, that's
from that. When I was playing, I was making like 40. Think about this. Jesse Holley, the scrub, the jag of the team. And I can say that about myself because I knew what I was, right? I was a bubble dude who every week I had to make sure I wasn't getting cut for 3 seasons, okay? I was making 40 grand in the offseason. Me, 40 grand.
Wow.
I'm not supposed to make 40 grand in the offseason. I'm at these signings on the Saturday before the game. I'm there. I'm there. I'm at the end of the table to do they giving $2,000 to. At the other end, it's a guy who they giving $10,000 to, $20,000 to. I'm at the other end. I'm $2 grand. I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, I don't hate on it. I think
but this is the thing, and I'm not. Listen, I know we live in a day and time when it comes with podcasts and it comes with all that kind of stuff. But again, if your way isn't strong enough, then your culture will never make it.
Right.
And so I'm not against podcasts. I'm not against autograph signs. I'm not against any of that. I'm just saying if what you're trying to build is culture, and there are people and forces in your locker room that don't believe in your culture and don't enforce your culture, there's cliques. There's cliques in the locker room. There's cliques. And if the forces of that clique can get enough people to gravitate their way, well, your culture's shot.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna look at that. Like I saw something at practice the other day. The Tuesday practice of last week. And it blew my mind. You guys know who Josh Butler is, right?
Yeah. Cornerback. Yep.
Cornerback. What has Josh Butler done in this league?
Not a whole lot. I mean, he had a little spark.
How many Pro Bowls he been to?
None.
Right? He's for all intents and purposes, he's a guy who's damn near should be worried about if his job gonna be there or not next week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's nursing an injury. Yes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're at practice, and practice is going on. And Josh Butler is playing around holding the camera of a cameraman, like a big, video camera. And I'm watching this, and I'm saying to myself, what the hell are we doing? Why does Josh Butler think, because he thinks this in his brain, that this is okay? I swear to God, he would have been sent home in New England. No questions asked. get out. You're rehabbing an injury, practice is going on, and you're goofing around over here playing with someone's camera?
Yeah.
Like the video camera?
Yeah.
You're Josh Butler.
Well, and you when you talk about it, you talk about the way, and you said, where does it? You said it starts. Where does it start? You said from the top down, right? So when you got these guys, and social media is as big as it is, and everybody sees everything. The podcast makes the rounds. ESPN is talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Everything they say, man. Somebody goes out and divorces their wife, whatever. Anything that the Cowboys do is magnified times a million. So you got your owner, Jerry Jones, talking about if we are not getting talked about, I have to find a way to get us talked about. And he don't give a damn whether it's positive or negative. I mean, you see that, and that's the mentality from the owner. Then I've said it before. I said it doesn't really matter who you bring in as your head coach, because how does that message from your head coach resonate when the owner's message is something that is completely different? The only thing that he cares about is that limelight. Like, I need to have this. I need to be in the spotlight. This is what I need to do. And no matter how I get there, positively or negatively, I will be talked about. And that's kind of where it's gotten to they've referred to for a while now the Dallas Cowboys as the circus. And that's really what it is. And Jerry's the ringleader. So like you said, that you can't develop a way if your owner is not willing to let a head coach come in and create a way. So, I mean, it's disheartening as a Cowboys fan seeing that and knowing that and just wondering, will that ever change at any point in Jerry's tenure?
Y'all watched the documentary, and I respect the documentary. Like I told guys I got a chance to see the advanced viewing of it a week before it came out, and I told everybody, I get it. Like, the dude put everything into this team to get this team. There's no way he's giving this up. There's no way he's giving this up, right? Like, he ran a great coach out of here because he didn't like the fact that he was calling the shots and building a team. That's what it boiled down to.
Yeah, he wanted the credit.
Too much fun doing this. I want in. This is my team. I want in. And ever since then, he's been trying to do this thing. And the greatest, the greatest fall of it all is he has nobody to answer to. Like, that's it. Like, he's the general manager, the president, and the owner. No general manager will ever be able to do what he's been able to do. And that's why, because he faces no consequences. Who as the young people say, who gonna check me, boo? Nobody checks him. And a part of me understands, because Mike, Kelly, I can't come into your household and start telling you and your kids and your people in there how to run stuff. You're going to say, hold on, brother. Hold on. I built this. Mm-hmm. I built this. You ain't going to come in here. No matter who it is, if you hired a nanny, if you hired a housekeeping, when you come in here, you're going to do what I tell you to do. So I get it. It's just that on the other side, the fans have to suffer because they're saying, bro, we want to win. We can see the level of ineptitude, and the competency level is not quite there where we need to be to have a winning organization, and you're not moving. And on the other hand, I go, I get it. If I had to beg, borrow, and steal and oil well drilled and all that, and I got it, his victory is Forbes. That's what it is. Yeah. Don't tell me the check that you're right. You're still sitting on right now $36 million in cap space.
Don't spend money.
Right.
Yeah.
If you sign Michael Parsons, you'll have almost $40 million in cap space. So don't tell me about a check that you would write to show yourself a Super Bowl, because you ain't writing under the checks. When you had Dak Prescott on a rookie deal, that's when you're supposed to be able to go spend not frivolously, but erratically on all throwing darts at all the stuff. You didn't. So don't tell me about a check that you would write to ensure yourself to win the Super Bowl, because you don't. You sign some guys because you got to sign those guys, because if you don't have a quarterback and you don't have a superstar player on your team, they're not going to give you the opportunity to play on all those Monday nights and Thursday nights and Sunday night football games. So you got to sign those guys. Those guys keep the jersey sales coming, and people coming in the stands every single week. That gives them the hope that it can actually happen. Because if you don't have a quarterback in this league, you don't have a damn thing. And you lucked up the last 20 years because you found a guy who was an undrafted free agent and a guy who was a 4th-round pick who was battling Jamil Showers at one point in time and had to have Romo and Kellen Moore get hurt before you gave him a chance to go and improve himself. So don't tell me about checks that you would write about winning the Super Bowl, because it's not true. It's not
Yeah.
true.
No.
We see it. And that's the unfortunate part about being a Cowboys fan. But again, you couldn't tell me what to do if I owned this team. If I spent every dollar that I had and they would cut my credit cards up and I'm bleeding out of this thing at $1 million a month and I get it back right, you wouldn't be able to tell OJ Holley nothing.
Yeah. No, I mean, and like I said, I respect and a lot of what he does. And I always say, as an owner, I don't think you can ask for a better owner for what he's done to the league and what he's done to the team. But it's just, I'm in business and I have certain people, and you got to have a buffer. Like there's a buffer between me and, boy, you can't go straight to the top. You go straight to the top and you cut the legs from under the person behind you, just kind of kill it. And I think that's what always happens with the Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. You can see. I'd like to get some new memories. I got to get you on this wall. I got to get you on this wall and get you beating Dante Whitner. So we'll get that thing taken care of. I got to get you on there. But real quick before we let you roll, because we've been rolling 2 hours, we got a couple super chats. And I saw you dancing for super chats. I'm not asking you to dance.
Nah, these are enough. I dance from 50 and 100. That's 50 what I. 100,
the man will dance. But,
yeah.
Big C's is a good dude, man. He lives down in South Florida. Any regrets on? I mean, I can't see how, listening to your story, how you can have any regrets on your NFL career, but is there one?
Not on my NFL career, but during my NFL time, I still kick myself in the nuts today. I did not buy enough property in my time, and because I had the money wasn't an issue. Like now you see, like I'm older now, I understand interest rates more, and I understand all that kind of stuff now. And I'm thinking to myself, back then in 2010, right? What cost $700,000 now back then was like $200,000. Yeah. And I didn't understand housing in the sense of, I thought I had to have the whole $2K right now, $200K right now. I didn't know you put a couple dollars down and now your mortgage is $700 a month. I should have bought multiple houses. And on top of that, before Jerry Jones moved from Valley Ranch to Frisco, he had a meeting with us, the team, in the team meeting room. At the end of the meeting, he said to us, if I were you guys, I would round up my pennies and start buying land in Frisco. Yeah. This is from Jerry Jones. This is before anything, no star, no design, no star district, none of that is there. This is what he said to us. I ignored it and thinking, I can't be da-da-da-da-da, when I could have just bought a piece of land and like, again, not thinking, because I'm like, if I had a couple houses in Valley Ranch, in Las Colinas, in those areas where, like I said, if it was 10% down, I had 20 grand. That 20 grand was nothing. Yeah. Right? I bought another house and I had to put 40 grand down. I do one off season. I had the money. The money wasn't an issue. And my mortgages would have been on those houses $1,000, $800, whatever. I'm like, even if I had gotten cut or whatever, I'm like, if I owned 3 houses and I had a grand total mortgage of $3,500, hell, I can make $3,500 a month. Yeah, make $3,500 a month. Like that's not there was no DoorDash back then, but I'm like, hell, I could DoorDash every day and make $3,500 in a month. But I'm like, that all was a possibility, and so I regret that. And the story that really makes me regret that was Brian McCann came in the locker room one day. Brian McCann played cornerback for us, went to SMU. It's in real estate now. Brian McCann came in the locker room and he said he was building a house. He was building a $175,000 house. And I called him stupid. I was like, what, Brian? You ain't even really make the team yet. I'm living in an apartment. I'm paying like $1,100 a month for like this 2-bedroom, 1,400 square foot apartment. Nice crib. Don't get me wrong. Nice crib. But I'm paying $1,200, $1,300 a month for this crib. He builds his house for $175,000. His 3-bedroom, 2-bath, nice crib, built from the ground up. His mortgage was probably like $700, whatever it was.
Yours. Yeah.
Way less than mine. And then he eventually sold it for $550,000.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, with property, you know, my daughter's going to college now. She's good. She has the opportunity to race to the end with my other nieces and nephews. Probably going to be the first one in our family with a college education. I graduated high school. I got very lucky, hard work to be where I'm at. Very fortunate. I don't come from money. I never understood generational wealth. Never made sense to me. I didn't understand. But now that I've, you know, got a house, got another house, got a rental house, now I'm starting to understand that's how generational wealth happens. It's property, it's real estate, because then my kids are going to get all this. Like you said, the house I bought, I've been here 20 years. It's about 4 times the value of what it was when I bought it. That's when all that kind of stuff starts taking place. So yeah, I kick myself. I wish I would have done more when I was younger, but yeah. So
yeah, that's my biggest regret. I mean, I live life very purposefully, as much as I can, but I still kick myself every single time.
Especially it ends up on Frisco, because I go there now. I'm like, whoo, that ain't a cheap place to live.
I lived in Little Elm, and when I sold my house in Little Elm, someone came and knocked on my door and asked me what I want to sell my house. I had no plan on selling my house. Then they gave me an offer that was real cash money, like $50,000-$60,000 over asking price, and I had to move out in 30 days. I was going in 30 days. Like, that's what I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that. I should have owned. I should be right now. Realistically, if I had done what I was supposed to do while I was playing, and again, I mean, it is what it is. But I should have owned 3 or 4 houses when I was playing for the Cowboys. Yeah. The money, like, even if it cost me $100,000, that was at that time 3 game checks, maybe a little bit less than 3 game checks.
Mm-hmm.
So if I took 3 weeks and got 3 houses, even if I had to live in one, it just would have been collecting. And then when, like, now you try to go buy a house in Las Colinas in Irving, quadruple the price. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm like, I could have been in on that. I didn't have to have these big luxury houses, but back then, $250,000 was getting you 3-4 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was getting you sometimes in certain areas, maybe 4 or 5 bedrooms, $275,000. I was like, at that time, and again, the mortgage would have been, if it was $5,000 combined a month. If I had 3 houses, $5,000 combined, I'm gonna rent some out.
Yep.
That's gonna be fine. But I'm like, bro, I can make $3,000 a month in my sleep.
Oh, absolutely.
And Jerry letting me know about the Frisco thing before the Frisco thing even happened. I mean, I've been out to Frisco, man. It's good stuff out there in Frisco.
Now you got guys like Witten and Romo and Ware, all those guys who listened and was like, let me call my financial advisor, and those guys are definitely benefiting from it. But Jerry threw us the oop now. He threw us the oop. He threw us the oop. It was like, I round up some pennies if I were y'all and buy land in Frisco. He gave us the blueprint. Some guys followed it. Some guys were stupid like me. It was like, man, I'm going to Belize. I ain't going to.
Well, you know, I have a guy who tells me he lives for the day. I keep telling him, you got to buy. You know, Mike, tomorrow's not promised for me, man. I said, all right. I said, you know, I mean, that's your choice. You got kids. I said, at the end of the day, like, I got kids. I got to make sure my kids are taken care of. That's why you got to make those decisions. But I think he's wising up now. But no, man, we got 1,000 people hanging with us, man. They've been hanging us for 2 hours with you, dude. I can't thank you enough. And obviously, Kelly, I can't thank you enough. And it's been so cool, man. You're smooth. You're inspirational. I love watching you. And like I said, watching that 4th and long, you're definitely on the bucket list to hopefully meet one day. So we have a Cowboys Cave tailgate party. If you're around, you're a busy man, but if you make it to that Packers game and you're around just killing time, we're in lot 10. We got a lot of people that come by. It's a great time, and you're welcome. Open invitation, man. It's a lot of fun.
I appreciate that. But of course, I'm the hardest.
You got work to do.
I got the pregame stuff. I know he's doing the
pre and post game show. So you guys can tune into that from the tailgate.
We'll get that from the cave. You'll be there in Inspiration. You can give us a shout out to the Cowboys Cave where you're doing pregame.
Absolutely, man. And this year we got myself, Jeff Kavanaugh, and Boss Lombardi will be doing a post game show. So you're gonna get that good Cowboy talk from us this year. So I'm excited about that, man. It's gonna be a good time. I was doing the pre and post game show with my boy Scott Walker for the last couple of years over at A to Z. But I transitioned and came on back home. They cut the check, and so when they cut the check, I had to, I had to come on back home and say, all right, I'm here now. I'm here. I'm back. I'm back.
Absolutely. No, so it's awesome, man. We definitely appreciate you in the cave, man. Love your content as well on Twitter. Fourth and Long, right? Fourth and Long, Mr. Fourth
and Long. Don't forget the Mr. And Unfiltered with Jesse Holley on the YouTube podcast, y'all. There's 1,000 of y'all in here, man. We get y'all to slide over there and give my man a subscribe, man. And he does great work.
And I wholeheartedly mean this when I say this, guys. Please invite me back. I enjoyed myself.
Oh, here. Absolutely, man.
You guys are cool dudes, man. So please invite me back, man. We can talk. Like I said, we've been on 2 hours. It don't even feel like 2 hours.
It doesn't.
I know 2 hours is hard to kind of put back out, but I'm like, what, you got more questions? Hey,
listen,
10 o'clock. I got to work the next day.
It went by great, man, and the stories are phenomenal. And again, we don't get to 1,000 people in the show if we don't have somebody that's out here being, with a great story. Inspiration, all this right here. So, I mean, I know that these people are not in here necessarily for me and Mike. They're sitting here coming in, flooding in, and they're staying because of you. So we appreciate it, man. It was great. I'm glad that you came on. Absolutely.
Quick prediction. Miami, Notre Dame, Texas, Ohio State, big football weekend. You could throw LSU and Clemson.
Hey, TCU and the Tar Heels go week 1 too, man. So
Monday Night Football, baby. You know what? College football is better when Miami is good. That's fact. That's just absolute fact. College football is just better when Miami is good. So I'm gonna give the nod to Miami. Let's see if Mario Cristobal can get that thing rocking and rolling. Who else did we say? We said Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my. If I don't say Texas, Clarence I'll never hear the end of it from Clarence. I'll never hear the end of it from Clarence. So, and my boy and my best friend who was the running back coach there a couple years ago, not last year. Tashard Choice is in Detroit now. Yeah. But I'm gonna go Texas over Ohio State. And plus, I'm rooting for Arch to really ball out, win the Heisman, take Texas on a long run, because I got a $100 bet with Clarence that he is coming out this year. I'm not saying he's coming to the Cowboys, but I'm just saying I think he's coming out this year if he balls out. So I'll take Texas over Ohio State. I'll take Carolina over TCU, and I'm taking the real Death Valley, South Carolina Death Valley, ACC Death Valley.
There you go.
Clemson over LSU. Let's go.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Well, hey, can't thank you enough for being in the cave, man. It's really, it was an honor to have you in there sharing your story. We appreciate it. Definitely going to have you on again, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. You got to take it easy, bro.
All right, take care. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.